Hello, today we will be folding an Origami Compound of 5 Octahedra designed by Meenakshi Mukerji. This is a great modular model and it's not very difficult to fold. Diagrams for this model can be found in Meenakshi's latest book called Exquisite Modular Origami. Also, it's important to mention that this model's final shape is often referred to as the third stellation of the icosahedron. The first origami version of this shape was introduced by Dennis Walker as a 60-unit modular, but luckily Meenakshi Mukerji adapted the original design to create the 30-unit version that we'll be folding today. This model requires 30 square sheets of paper. Each unit is folded for 1 square, and I recommend using 4-inch squares to fold the units. You can fold all of the units using the same colored paper to create a model like this, or you can use 5 different colors to create a model like this. I'll be demonstrating how to fold the 5-colored version of this model, so in order to fold it, you'll need 6 sheets of each color for a total of 30 sheets of paper. Now we're going to fold our first unit, and if you're using paper with color on one side and white on the other, then start with the white side up. And we're going to start by folding in half vertically, so take this right edge and fold it over to the left edge. Align the corners and the edges, then make your crease, and then unfold. Now we're going to fold the left and right edges into the center vertical crease that we just made. So let's start with this right edge, and we're just going to pull it in like this, align it with that center vertical crease, and then make your crease. Then we want to do the same thing with this left edge, so just pull it in like this, align it with that center vertical crease, and then make your crease. And once your model looks like this, then you can unfold. Now we're going to turn the paper over. And once it's turned over, we're going to fold in half horizontally. So take this bottom edge and fold it up to the top edge. Align the corners and the edges. Then you can make your crease. And once your model looks like this, then you want to take the bottom right corner and align it with this rightmost vertical crease. So you can just pull up the corner like this. And as you're doing this, you want to make sure that this edge extends from the bottom point of the center vertical crease up to where this corner intersects with this vertical crease here. So once the entire edge is aligned, just like this, then you can make your crease. But you only want to crease about halfway. So crease until you reach that existing crease there, just like this, and then you can unfold. And now we're going to do the same thing on the left. So we're going to take this bottom left corner and align it with this leftmost vertical crease. So you can just pull up the corner, and again you want to make sure that this edge extends from the bottom point of the center vertical crease up to where this corner intersects with that vertical crease there. So once the entire edge is aligned, just like this, then you can make your crease. But again you only want to crease halfway, so crease until you reach that existing crease there, just like this, and then you can unfold. And once you've made these 2 new creases, then you can unfold the model along this horizontal crease here. Just like this, and then you can turn the model over. Now we're going to reinforce these 2 diagonal creases that we just made by turning them into valley folds. So in order to do that, we're going to start with this one here, and we're just going to lift up the paper and reinforce that crease by simply creasing it on the other side like this. And then you can unfold, and you want to do the same thing with this crease here. So we're just going to lift up the paper, do the same thing by reinforcing that existing crease, and then you can unfold. Now we're going to make a small horizontal crease extending from this crease intersection here. And we're going to do that by lifting up the bottom edge. So we're just going to pull it up like this. You'll need to pull it up more than halfway, and then you'll start to see where the 2 creases come together along that bottom edge there. And that's where you need to make your crease. But before you do so, you want to make sure that these 2 layers on the left edge align so you get a nice horizontal crease. And you also want to make sure that you only crease between the left edge and this leftmost vertical crease here. Otherwise, you'll have unwanted creases on your completed unit. So make that small crease, and then you can unfold. And once you have this, then you want to rotate the paper 180 degrees and do the same exact thing. So we're going to make a small horizontal crease extending from this crease intersection here. So just pull up the bottom edge, and as soon as you start to see those 2 creases intersect, you know that that's where you need to make your crease. Again, make sure the left edge is aligned, and then you're going to make your crease between the left edge and that leftmost vertical crease. Just like this, and then you can unfold. So once you've made these 2 new horizontal creases, then we're going to fold the left and right edges into the center vertical crease along existing creases. So let's start with this right edge. You can just pull it in like this. And then you're going to do the same thing on the left edge. So just pull it in, again along an existing crease. And once you've done that, your model should look like this. Now we're going to create 2 new diagonal creases by folding along creases that we already made. So if you turn the model over, you'll notice these 2 diagonal creases here. These are the creases that we'll be using as references. So if you turn the model back over once again, then you'll notice that the first crease on the back extended from this point here, through the middle, and up to this point here. That'll be the first crease that we're working with, and in order to fold along that crease, we're simply going to lift up this bottom edge, bring it over to the left, and then you'll reach a point where the paper wants to fold along that existing crease. And once you've reached that point, then you can crease through all layers, just like this, and then you can unfold. And now you want to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So in order to do that, you're simply going to lift up the bottom edge of the model, bring it over to the right, and again you'll reach that point where the paper wants to fold along the existing crease. So once your model looks like this, then you can make your crease. Again, crease through all of the layers, and then you can unfold. Now we're going to make a valley fold by folding over this left edge here. And we're going to do that by lifting up this bottom left corner, and we're going to pull it over, and what you want to do is make sure that this edge aligns with this bottommost horizontal crease here. So you can start at the left edge and work your way over to the right, aligning the edge with the crease. And once the entire edge is aligned, then you can make your crease. And once you have this, then you want to rotate the paper 180 degrees, and then we're going to do the same exact thing on the bottom left corner here. So once again, we're going to take this bottom left corner, and we're going to pull it up like this, and align this edge with this bottommost horizontal crease. So align the edge with the crease, and once the entire edge is aligned, then you can make your crease. And once you've done that to both sides, then you can unfold both of the corners that we just folded in. Now we're going to reverse fold along the 2 creases that we just made. And we're going to start with this one on the bottom, and we're going to do that by first separating the layers on the left side of the model. So just put your finger in between the 2 layers. Then what we want to do is push in on the left edge of the model, so just push it in like this, and you'll see that it won't lie flat. So in order to make it lie flat, you want to push the rest of the layers down along this horizontal crease here. So just pull everything back down, just like that, and you'll see that everything will start to collapse along existing creases. And once you have this, then you want to make sure that you take this right layer of paper and pull it out on top of the rest of the layers, just like this. And then you'll notice that there's a little white triangle on the bottom of the model, and we want to hide that triangle by reversing the crease and making it a mountain fold. So once the triangle is hidden underneath, then your model should look like this. And then you want to rotate the paper and do the same exact thing. So once again, we're going to start by separating the layers on the left side of the model. So put your finger in between the 2 layers. Then we're going to push in on the left edge, just like this. And you'll see that the layers won't lie flat, just like they did before. So again, you have to pull the layers down along this existing horizontal crease, just like this. And everything will start to collapse along existing creases the same way they did before. And once you have this, then you want to take this right layer of paper and pull it out on top of all of the others. Then you should notice that little white triangle, and what you want to do is reverse that crease by making it a mountain fold. So flip it inside like that. And then your model should look like this. And now you can completely unfold the model. Now that you've completely unfolded the paper, I want you to focus on these 2 creases that I've marked here. Now we're going to start by working on this horizontal crease, and what we're going to do is pinch it from the top to make it a mountain fold. So we're simply going to pinch it like this, just to make that crease a mountain fold. And then what we want to do is fold it down along this existing crease that I've marked here. So we're just going to simply pull it down like this. So once your model looks something like this, then you want to take this corner here and pull it in towards the center of the model along this existing crease that I've marked here. And we're going to do that by pulling in this corner, just like this. And as you bring it in towards the center of the model, you'll see that the paper will start to collapse along the creases that you already made. And once you've collapsed the right side of the model, you'll notice that it will not lie flat, and it should look something like this. And now we're going to do the same thing on the left. So we're going to rotate the paper, just like this, and I want you to focus on the 2 creases that I've marked here. So just like we did on the other side, we're going to start with this horizontal crease here, and we're going to pinch it from the top to make it a mountain fold. So we're going to pinch it like this, and as soon as that crease is a mountain fold, we're going to fold it down along this existing crease that I've marked here. So we're just going to fold this flap down, just like we did before, and then your model should look something like this. And just like we did before, we're going to take this corner here and fold it into the center of the model along this existing crease that I've marked here. So we're just going to fold it in like this. And as you're doing this, it'll bring the other layers with it, and you'll see that it'll start to collapse along the existing creases. So just reinforce these creases, and then the model should look something like this. At this point, your model will lie flat if you try to bring both of the edges together like this, but we really want to keep it open so that we can work on the inside layers for a little bit. So we're going to start by reverse folding along this crease that I've marked here, and we're going to do that by first separating the layers on the top edge of the model, just like this. So you can put your finger in between those two layers, and as you're doing that, you want to push in on the right edge of the model, just like this. And you'll notice that the layers won't lie flat. So in order to make them lie flat, we're going to have to pull them up along this horizontal crease that I've marked here. So you can just pull the rest of the layers up like this, and you'll see that they will start to lie flat. And once your model looks like this, then you want to take this top left layer of paper and pull it out on top of the other layers, just like we did before. And then you should recognize that little white triangle that we saw earlier. And what you want to do is the exact same thing by reversing that crease and making it a mountain fold. So once you've hidden that triangle, then your model should look something like this. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to rotate the paper, and then we're going to reverse fold along this existing crease just like we did before. And again, we're going to start by separating the layers on the top edge of the model. So you can put your finger in between those two layers. Then you want to push in on the right edge of the model, just like this. And then you'll see that the layers won't lie flat. So in order to make them lie flat, you have to bring them up along this horizontal crease that I've marked here. So you can just pull them up like this, and you'll see that the model will start to collapse along the existing creases. And once you have this, then you want to take the top left layer of paper and pull it out on top of the other layers just like we did before. And once you have this, you'll recognize that little white triangle, and you simply want to reverse the crease by turning the valley fold into a mountain fold. And once you have that, then you can bring the top and bottom edges together, just like this, flip the model over, and then it should look something like this. Now we're going to make a valley fold by pulling over this left edge and aligning it with this layer underneath. So we're going to do that by again pulling over the left edge, and as soon as the edge aligns with the layer underneath, then you can make your crease. Just like that, and then you can turn the model over and do the same exact thing. So we're going to pull over this left edge here, again aligning it with the layers underneath, just like this. Then you can make your crease. And once you've done that to both sides, your model should look like this. Now we're going to fold this right edge over and align it with this existing vertical crease. So we're just going to pull the edge over like this. And as soon as it aligns with that crease, then you can make your crease. And once your model looks like this, then you want to turn it over and do the exact same thing on the other side. So you're just going to take this right edge, pull it over, and as soon as it aligns with that vertical crease, then you can make your crease. And once you've done that to both sides, then you can pull apart on the tabs that you just folded in, and then you can reinforce the crease that I've marked here by pinching it from the top and making it a mountain fold. Just like that. And once you've done that, then this is one completed unit. Now you must fold 29 more. Once you've folded all 30 units, you may want to separate them by color. At this point, you should have 6 units of each color, and you're going to need to pick 2 units to start the assembly. I'm going to start with a blue and an orange unit, but before we start putting them together, we're going to have a closer look at this blue unit here. And you'll notice that it has 2 big flaps like this, and if you flip it over, it has 2 big pockets underneath like this. So from here you want to take a second unit, and what we're going to do is insert the second unit's flap inside of the first unit's pocket. So we're going to do that by bringing the flap inside of the pocket, just like this. And I find it a lot easier if you flatten out the first unit slightly, just to get the second unit's flap inside. So you can push the second unit's flap all the way inside, just like this. And once you have that, then you can squeeze both sides of the first unit together, just to hold the second unit's flap in place. Now we're going to connect the third unit the same way. But before you do that, you need to make sure that your third unit is a different color from the other 2 units that you already connected. And once you've picked your color, then you're going to insert the third unit's flap inside of the second unit's pocket. So we're going to do that just like we did before. So bring the flap inside of the pocket. And again, it makes it a little bit easier to flatten out the second unit slightly just to get the third unit's flap inside. And once it's all the way inside, Then you can squeeze both sides of the second unit together just to reinforce that crease and to hold the third unit's flap inside. Now we're going to connect the fourth unit the same way. And again, you want to make sure your fourth unit is a different color than the other three units that you already connected. And then you're going to insert the fourth unit's flap inside of the third unit's pocket, just like we did before. Again, slightly flatten out the third unit just to make it easier to get the flap inside. And once you've done that, then you can squeeze both sides of the third unit together, and then it should hold the fourth unit's flap in place. Now we're going to connect the fifth unit the same way. Again, make sure it's a different color. Then we're going to insert the fifth unit's flap inside of the fourth unit's pocket. So just put the flap inside of the pocket, just like this. Again, slightly flatten out the fourth unit, then push both sides together, and it should hold the fifth unit's flap in place. And once you have this, then you want to connect the first and the fifth units together. So we're going to do that by pulling out the first unit's flap and inserting it into the fifth unit's pocket, just like we've been doing. Again, slightly flatten out the fifth unit, slide the first unit's flap inside, and now you've connected 5 units. Now we're going to connect the sixth unit the same way, but the sixth unit is different because it's important where you place it relative to the other units. Now since my sixth unit is blue, it's important that I place it directly across from the other blue that I already connected. So I would put it right here, and in order to connect it, I simply attach it to these 2 units the same way we did before. Just like this, and now you've connected 6 units. So in order to connect the 7th unit, what I like to do is rotate the model clockwise just so I can see what color I need to attach next. Now you can see that there's a pink unit at the bottom of the model here, which means I need to attach a pink unit directly across from that pink unit here. So in order to connect that unit, I'm simply going to attach it to these 2 units the same way we did before. And once you've done that, then you've connected 7 units. Now we're going to connect the next 3 units the same way, and we're going to do that by first rotating the model clockwise and attaching the 8th unit the same way we did the other ones. And we can just repeat this process until we've connected 10 units. And once you have this, then you've connected 10 units. So in order to connect the rest of the units, you'll have to think about the geometry of the final shape. Now the final model is made up of 5 different colored octahedra, and each octahedron has 8 faces. Each of the faces is an equilateral triangle, so by looking at the units you connected so far, you can figure out where to connect the next unit by finding out exactly where it makes an equilateral triangle with the other units of the same color. So by connecting a blue unit here, I created the equilateral triangle that I was looking for. And at the same time, I can tell that a yellow unit goes here because wherever 5 units come together, they all have to be different colors. So just continue adding units the same way by creating equilateral triangles and by making sure that no 2 units of the same color ever touch. And you can repeat this process until you've connected all 30 units. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial on how to fold an origami compound of 5 octahedra designed by Meenakshi Mukerji. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and thank you for watching.